Hey guys, here we go into a video on Alexander Povetkin versus Dillian Whyte. Now, this was a really interesting fight for a few reasons. Number one, I actually picked Povetkin I was giving him good odds, okay? I didn't exactly pick him to win, but I said this was definitely a bet-worthy fight, and that was just at Povetkin at 3-1 to win the fight. And the reason that is because Dillian Whyte gets stuck on the front foot very, very, very often in his weight transitions. And we're going to talk about one of the key reasons why that is. But first, we're going to talk about what it is that got Dillian Whyte in this position in the first place. So let's break it down a little bit. We've got Povetkin shooting a probe, getting from the back foot, slipping to the front foot, and then coming back with the left hook. Now, why does Dillian Whyte find himself in this position? Why does he think he's going to land that right hand right there and then that left hook? Well, if we go back to the fourth round in which he was knocking down Povetkin, you can see Povetkin shooting a jab right there and then being in perfect line for that right hand there. Shooting a jab right there and then being in perfect line for that right hand there. And then Povetkin continuing to attack and get caught on the line in the front foot position, throwing a left hook to the body and then going down. Notice the parallels between this final exchange here, boom, right? And then the left hook's there, but Povetkin is the one going down here instead of Dillian Whyte. Now, the only difference is when Povetkin shoots this jab, instead of committing his body weight and moving into that shot, instead of traveling backwards, right, jab, and then bringing his weight back to the back foot and getting caught with the right hand, jab, bringing his weight back to the back foot, throwing the left hook and getting caught with the right hand. In the one where he knocks Dillian Whyte out, he shoots that jab from the back foot, and then immediately slips to the front foot to get away from that right hand, and then catches Dillian Whyte on the front foot. Again, Mike Tyson says only smart people should be fighters, and Povetkin here doing an excellent job of making an adjustment, getting Dillian Whyte to commit to an attack, and then catching him in that position. Now, that's the part that Povetkin is responsible for doing a good job. Okay, that's where he gets his credit, is setting up this motion because he knew that he was going to be able to find Dillian Whyte stuck on the front foot. Now we're going to talk a little bit about Dillian Whyte's, I don't want to say his inadequacy, but where he needs to pick up the slack in terms of his weight transitions to catch up to someone who's as quick as Povetkin. Now, where are we going to start there? Well, let's start in this weight transition. In this sequence of motions, we're going to be looking to piece together what it is that Dillian Whyte does wrong here. Well, fundamentally, as soon as he starts eating that jab comes, notice him take a step, right? That's one weight transfer. Now he shoots the right hand. That's a second weight transfer. And now he's on the line for the third one, okay? But there's only one attack coming from Povetkin. One. So he should be on the front foot now. But he's not on the front foot now. He's on the front foot by the time Povetkin makes it to the front foot. And now he doesn't beat Povetkin out of this position, right? Povetkin is just a hair ahead of him. But the reason is because Dillian Whyte should just be slipping and keeping his weight on the front foot. But because he's taking that step and not keeping his foot here where he's planted and slipping across Povetkin's line, off of that jab, right? His foot is here. He should just be bringing his head, He should just be bringing his head to the front foot, to this zone, and getting around that jab, and then immediately bringing his weight back to the front foot. But he's a little bit off on his rhythm because of this step. Now we're going to be taking a look at a few more clips, and I'm going to show you that he has this bad habit of not being able to get his weight to the front foot without taking a step, okay? Now, this is a problem that a lot of fighters have, and that's because even though he's a big heavyweight, he's a big power puncher, and real quick, you guys, notice this position is very similar to the one that Dillian Whyte gets knocked out in, right? Now, Dillian Whyte's going to be throwing that shovel hook, and he's going to be throwing it at Povetkin's head, right? Here's his line. It's a little off, right? It should be technically here, right? But when he slips to the here, see this position here? 1, 2, 3. Dillian Whyte is throwing his left hook here. Now, when he throws that shot, Povetkin moves his head back to the back foot and gets his head out of the position to be attacked by Dillian Whyte. Again, this is much, much better body mechanics from Povetkin here. And that's the only reason why he doesn't meet the same fate that Dillian Whyte met in the 5th round in this exact weight transfer. Now, getting back to topic, right? Again, we want to be pointing out and paying attention to the fact that Dillian Whyte always has to step, right? See, his foot's not on the ground with his right hand and with his front foot weight transfer. Now, notice when he gets there, there's another beat where he's not able to transfer his weight back to the back foot. Again, because he's always stepping into this position. It's much more difficult to move your weight out of it efficiently. Now, again, even when he's only slipping or rolling Povetkin's overhand right here, he's still taking a step here. And that's, again, putting him off rhythm. As you can see, Povetkin is able to finish his right hand and then immediately start transferring his weight through that left hook to the body here, while Dillian Whyte is still struggling because of his balance issues. Because he's not planting that foot, he has to find his balance, right, and get sunk back into position 1 before he can let that shot go. Now, again, this is something that he does many, many, many times, as you can see, not in this clip. We'll be taking a look at some of that stuff on Patreon later. But, again, Dillian Whyte getting feinted and having to take a step in order to get his head off the line. Again, this is a very, very common problem from beginner fighters, okay? You don't usually see these kind of problems against as a high-level fighter. But, you know, boxing's a mess today. Anyway, here is Povetkin throwing that overhand right again. And again, Dillian Whyte slipping to that front foot, getting his weight stuck on that front foot because he's always having to take a step. Again, not able to transfer his weight to the front foot and then out of that position really quickly. Now, there are a ton of reasons why this is going to be the case for Dillian Whyte. And on Patreon, we're going to be taking a look at his training video with his coach. And we're going to be talking about some of them. But one of them here, just a real quick excerpt from his newest training video, is him making the same mistake. Again, slipping to the front foot and always doing it with the right hand. Okay? And then when he throws that left hook, right? Notice him opening up his stance. Now his back foot has to catch up to him. But notice when he throws this left hook, his foot's not even on the ground, right? He'll never be able to get his weight to the back foot or transfer his weight back to the back foot if he doesn't get his heel to the ground. Again, this is going to be a similar problem to what he does in this fight as he slips this way. And now notice when he throws that hook, look at where his foot is. It's in the air. He's not even attempting to transfer his weight back to the back foot. And again, this is going to be one of those small problems that happens because he's trying to take a step with each of that weight transition. Probably because he doesn't practice enough just transferring his weight to the front foot without stepping, or transferring his weight to the back foot without stepping. Now on my Patreon, I talk about it a lot, how punching and stepping are the easiest ways to get in and out of positions. But those are the basics. Those are boxing basics. And as you get better at fighting, you have to learn how to get into all of these positions without punching and without stepping to show true mastery of your positions and your weight transfers and all of that jazz. But anyway, it was a pretty good performance from Povetkin. Judging by that small clip right there, I don't know if Dillian Whyte is going to be able to make the kind of adjustments that he's going to need to be able to make in order to beat Povetkin, because of the fact that he's showing the same tendency, right? And because of the fact that he always has to take that step, it means he's going to be stuck on the front foot for just a little bit longer. And if you guys check out that video on my Patreon, Povetkin's whole style, right? The peekaboo style is built around dominating the front foot in front foot opposition. So Povetkin, from a style point, has a massive advantage over Dillian Whyte in every fight they will ever have. He just, should always be behind in that regard. But Dillian Whyte, being so much bigger, is going to have, his own advantages too, right? As long as he can figure out a way to leverage those against Povetkin, maybe he can do something in the rematch. I know he did knock Povetkin down a bunch of times, right? But he's going to have to really do a good job of outboxing Povetkin and controlling Povetkin and learning to transfer his weight without taking a step. Because if he can't, Povetkin is too good at attacking his opponents when they're on the front foot, and he's just going to find Dillian Whyte very likely even faster in the rematch. So this could be the last we ever hear of Dillian Whyte if he loses this rematch. So anyway, like I said, we're going to be taking a look at him on Patreon. And then we're also going to be looking at that Russian boxing coach again. Thanks to my new patron, Maurice, with some comments on there. We're going to be connecting some ideas about some of that Russian boxing theory and Fouts boxing theory, and talk about how that Russian boxing coach is, even though I know he's, very credentialed, right? I think some of his theories and stuff, while he's able to build fighters with them, I don't think it's the most efficient and the fastest way, even though I do think on average, he's teaching most of the correct concepts. I think that he's missing a few things. We're going to be talking about those on Patreon today. So if you're interested, come check it out. And also, we're going to be taking a look at some more Tom Yankello videos. I guess people think that guy's a really, really legit coach. I've never fucking heard of him. Pardon my language. I've never heard of that guy before. So people have only sent me his videos on YouTube and stuff. I didn't know he was a real boxing coach. I thought he was one of those YouTube guys, and it was some kind of like fluke that he got to work with Roy Jones. So people are all saying a bunch of stuff or whatever, I don't know. But anyway, I don't agree with nearly half of the things that I've ever seen him say in his boxing videos. I don't agree with his boxing technique. I don't agree with the way that he teaches striking. I don't think, and it's important if you guys are new fighters, and we have tons of segments on my Patreon about striking, learning how to punch, learning the mechanics of punches. I don't think that he knows anything about striking. I don't think he knows anything about landing, about power shots, and how to develop power. So if you're interested in those kinds of things, we're going to be breaking some of that stuff down. And if you guys have any other videos or boxing coaches that you want to take a look at, one of the next ones we're going to be looking at is Fran Sands. One of my patrons sent me a video of his on positioning, and I thought he had some good ideas, right? Position, neutral positions, position 1, position 2. I kind of extrapolate a little bit on those ideas for my own Patreon, for my own boxing theory. So I think he's really close in some of those ideas too. But we're going to be looking at probably his slipping video. Someone sent me that one. And so we'll be doing that on YouTube. Maybe tomorrow. Actually, I get back to work tomorrow. Maybe today. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And don't forget to check out my Patreon if you guys want personalized coaching or coaching demonstrations or whatever. On Patreon, we're talking a lot about movement right now and the pendulum step and closing the distance and a lot of cool stuff. And anyway, thanks, guys.